Hey, I'm back with another vlog, and today I want to talk about what I call Ganbare culture. So I meant to do this vlog before, but I think the video wasn't good, so I'm going to redo it now and talk about this. For those that don't know, Ganbare or Gambaru in Japan means kind of like try hard. So it's sporting events or something like that. People often say like gambate or gambare means like try your best or like work hard. And it's kind of like a cheer. And of course you think like, okay, like what's the problem or what's the good thing about that? And one of the greatest things about this is if you come to Japan, you'll see lots of people they'll really like work hard on something. So they'll work hard on sports, school, work, etc. And it's one of the things that I really admire about Japanese people after being in Japan. They really, put everything into what they're doing, whether it's, a hobby or whether it's something, that greatly affects their life. And of course, not everybody does this. There's lazy people just like there are in any country. But in general, I think lots of people will try hard at what they're doing. And it, really it's great for things like food service or any kind of like service industry. You really see like the extra care they put into it. But there's also kind of a downside to it. So one of the downsides is it kind of allows people to be abused in the sense that, let's say, for example, at companies, many bosses will ask their workers to work longer and like, try harder. And I think lots of people feel like they have this, gambare spirit. I need to work hard. And they feel bad if they're not working hard, and especially in a work environment because they see people around them working hard. And if another person's working harder than they are, they, feel bad. And of course, it's like you think, oh, it's good, everybody's working hard. But the problem is there's lots of people that, they just reach the breaking point. Recently, there have been people who've been committing suicide. There have been lots of other people that, although it's not as bad as suicide, people that just completely quit work. And I know you're saying, like, what's the problem with, quitting your job if it's not good? So, of course, that's no problem. The problem is they don't quit their job. They quit working. They think, I'm not going back to my job. I'm not going back to any job at all. I'm just never working again, which you can understand is a problem if you're some husband and you have a wife and 2 kids, if you never work again and you just stay inside your house like a hikikomori. Which is kind of like a shut-in. Anyways, I'm getting off topic there. So that's one of the problems, and also lots of people in Japan work overtime, which I'm sure you've heard about this before, but the problem is it's unpaid. They don't pay you, and it's part of like, you should be working harder. That should be your main goal, the work and how hard you're working. But really, it probably should be the pay. The pay's more important, at least to me. What do I know? And the second problem with this is the focus on trying hard as opposed to results. So lots of times when you tell this to children, it makes sense. Of course, you're like, do your best and that's what's important. At the level of an adult, I don't know that's true, and sometimes it causes problems. Personally, I'm a fan of mixed martial arts, and of those people that know mixed martial arts, you know that Japan has a rich history of martial arts. But recently, the level of mixed martial arts in Japan has kind of fallen down, and people wonder, like, kind of like, why? What's the problem? And one of the problems, I think, is things like this. So, I have a teammate that I guess, teammate, and at one point he was, I think, the number 3 ranked mixed martial artist in his weight category in the world. And a friend told me about like his training. He said like he'd go in there, and he saw it, and he's like, I was so moved by his fighting spirit because he would take a heavy bag and just punch and punch and punch. And he said he'd punch for so long he actually started crying. He's like, because he was working so hard. And that's good in theory. The problem with this is it oftentimes causes overtraining. There's another mixed martial artist who did the same thing. He climbed up Mount Fuji and he was, like working on Mount Fuji because there's thinner air, but he actually couldn't compete because he got altitude sickness. And there have been other cases like this where fighters are just working, too hard, and they're peaking too early, and then when they come into the fight, it's no good. They can't perform at their top level because they literally tried too hard. And the same thing before, not recently, but I think this was maybe like 30 years ago or so, when people would do like workouts outside for baseball teams or basketball teams, they wouldn't let students drink water because they thought, drinking water makes it easier. We want it to be as hard as possible. And when the theory of the harder you try, the better you'll be, of course that makes sense, but in actual science, in real life, not drinking water when you're doing some kind of physical activity is a terrible idea. It's really dangerous. So luckily they stopped that. But this mentality of the harder it is, the better it is, isn't always true, and I think it kind of hurts Japanese people sometimes. And also the opposite is true. So if you can do something very easily and it looks like, I can do it easily, even if the results are good, Japanese people in general don't really like that. So if you're like a good artist or something and someone asks, can you draw me a picture? And then you're like, you just draw it in like 10 seconds and it looks amazing, like best picture. I think if you hand it to someone like, okay, now pay me money because this is a great picture, people are kind of reluctant about that, or they'd probably pay you, I'm sure, but they probably won't hire you again. So that's one of those things that's, I think, the downside of Ganbare culture. But this is going a little bit long. Maybe I'll talk about this again in the future. Until then, leave me a comment below. Give me a thumbs up if you like this, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And until next time, see you.